Jerry Jones not ready to give Trey Lance a shot as Cowboys quarterback, why the backup QB still hasn't seen the field. Another disappointing loss at home on Monday night has left the Dallas Cowboys in an increasingly dire situation, with the playoffs all but mathematically out of reach. It's been a season of missed opportunities and underperformance for a team that started the year with Super Bowl aspirations. But amid all the struggles, there's one question that's been hanging in the air: why not give backup quarterback Trey Lance a shot? Despite the Cowboys' 3-7 record and the growing frustration among fans, team owner and general manager Jerry Jones isn't quite ready to take the plunge with Lance as the starter. After a rough 34-10 loss to the Houston Texans, a game where backup quarterback Cooper Rush started his second consecutive game in place of the injured Dak Prescott, Jones took to his weekly radio appearance to address the ongoing quarterback situation. Why not Trey Lance? Jerry Jones weighs in. When asked if it was time to give Trey Lance a chance, Jones was clear: not yet. Instead, he praised Cooper Rush for his performance in the loss to Houston, even though the team still came up short. Rush, who had been unimpressive in his first start of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles, showed slight improvement in the loss to the Texans. Rush completed 32 of 55 passes for 354 yards, adding 1 touchdown and 1 interception. But the Cowboys' offense still couldn't get anything going in the second half, leading to another double-digit loss. Jones acknowledged Rush's improvement but made it clear that the Cowboys were sticking with the experience they have in Rush. Here's how Jones responded when asked about the quarterback change. "I don't know that," Jones said on 105.3 The Fan. "I thought Rush actually had improvement last night from the game before. He didn't have far to go to get improvement. But I did think he had improvement." Jones emphasized that the Cowboys' primary focus is on getting wins and giving themselves a chance, which is why they'd stick with Rush for now, despite a lack of success. "And frankly, there were times in that ballgame that I thought it was really coming to it. And we know that we've got limited time to work with these quarterbacks at this particular time. And I would look for us to stay with the experience." Head coach Mike McCarthy echoed Jones' comments, confirming that Rush would get the start against the Washington Commanders on Sunday, continuing to give the veteran another chance. Rush shows improvement, but Cowboys still struggling. In fairness to Rush, he did show some progress compared to his disastrous first start against the Eagles. In Week 10, Rush completed just 13 of 23 passes for a paltry 45 yards in the Cowboys' 34-6 loss to Philly. This was a game where Dallas offense failed to generate anything, with Rush unable to move the ball downfield. The Texans game, by contrast, was better statistically for Rush. He threw for more than 350 yards and found some rhythm in the offense. But, as has been the case all season, the result didn't change. The Cowboys still lost, and they've now dropped to 0-5 at home in 2023. But here's the kicker: despite a slight uptick in Rush's performance, the Cowboys are still on the outside looking in when it comes to playoff contention. With a 3-7 record and a defense that can't stop the run and an offense that can't run the ball effectively, it feels like the time to experiment is now. So why not give Trey Lance, the highly touted former number 3 overall pick, a shot at the starting job? Will Trey Lance ever get a shot? Lance, acquired from the San Francisco 49ers via trade in 2023, is currently buried on the Cowboys' depth chart. Despite being a former top draft pick and possessing undeniable physical talent, Lance has struggled to earn a spot ahead of Rush on the Cowboys' QB depth chart. Reportedly, Lance's struggles in practice with the 49ers have carried over to his time in Dallas, and he failed to unseat Rush as the backup during training camp. So, why trade for Lance if you're not even willing to give him a chance when your season is essentially over? When asked about the decision to acquire Lance and why they haven't yet given him a chance, Jones was defensive but still somewhat optimistic about Lance's progress. "No, we knew exactly where Trey Lance was when he left San Francisco," Jones said. "He was what? 4th, 5th pick in the draft? We knew he hadn't played much football." Jones acknowledged that Lance has made dramatic improvements since coming to Dallas. But ultimately, it's about the immediate need for wins, something the Cowboys simply haven't been able to do, especially with their current quarterback situation. "He has improved dramatically. You've got to get out there and you've got to play. We have thought it was just too important for us to have him at rookie quarterback in these last 2 ball games, because we need to win to that degree and give ourselves every chance we can." In other words, the Cowboys' season is on life support, and Jones is not ready to gamble on Lance's development right now. The focus is still on winning games and doing whatever it takes to salvage the season, even if that means sticking with the more experienced, but less talented, Rush. But the real question is, how much longer can Jones justify this stance? The end of a Super Bowl dream. The Cowboys entered the season with Super Bowl aspirations. But at 3-7, it's clear those dreams are all but gone. The team's defense has been inconsistent. And the offense has been even worse, struggling to get anything going without Dak Prescott. With a losing record and no real chance of making a playoff push, it's fair to wonder if giving Trey Lance a shot is the best move at this point. Jones' reluctance to start Lance is understandable to an extent. There's no denying that the rookie quarterback's development is still a work in progress. But with a season that's essentially lost, why not take a look at what you have in Lance? What's the harm in letting him get some live reps, especially when Rush has proven to be a serviceable backup? But nothing more? As Jones himself pointed out, the Cowboys are still evaluating Lance. But they don't want to make any rash decisions while they're still mathematically fighting for relevance in the postseason. We have really worked with Trey. We have evaluated Trey. We'll see what the future brings here over the next few weeks. But I'm satisfied where we are. But the question remains, will Jerry Jones and the Cowboys ever be ready to fully commit to Trey Lance? Or will they continue to ride out a lost season with Cooper Rush at the helm? If the playoffs are truly out of the picture, isn't now the time to start preparing for the future? Conclusion, a question of timing. With the Cowboys' playoff hopes fading, the time for experimentation is now. Trey Lance represents the future. But the Cowboys are stuck with the present, Cooper Rush and a lost season. While Jones insists that Rush is still the best option for now, it's hard to ignore the feeling that the clock is ticking on both Rush's and Lance's time in Dallas. Will Lance ever get the chance to start for the Cowboys? It's unclear. But with each passing loss, the urgency to give him a shot grows. The season might be a lost cause. But for Lance, the future could be right around the corner, if Jones is ready to make that call.
After another home loss that sunk the Cowboys' already shaky season, Jerry Jones is still hesitant to give backup quarterback Trey Lance a chance. Despite the team's 3-7 record and a dwindling playoff chance, Jones isn't ready to pull the trigger on Lance. Asked if it's time to start Lance over Cooper Rush, Jones replied that Rush showed improvement in his second start, even if that improvement came from a very low bar. Rush threw for 354 yards in a 34-10 loss to the Texans, improving from a dismal performance against the Eagles the week before. But, for all the yardage, the Cowboys' offense hasn't been enough to turn things around. So why not give Lance, the number 3 overall pick in 2021, a shot? The Cowboys traded for Lance last year after the 49ers moved on from him. But Lance's struggles in practice kept him behind Rush on the depth chart. Jones insists that they know exactly what they have in Lance and that he's still improving. However, with no playoffs in sight, Jones is still sticking with the veteran Rush for now, leaving the future of Trey Lance in limbo. Will the Cowboys ever give Lance a real shot? That's still uncertain, as Jones insists the focus is on winning with the experience they have. The question remains, with little to lose, will the Cowboys finally make the change or continue to ride out the season with Rush?